We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Keyz and Jermaine back for episode 9 of Sucio Sportz. Let's hit the intro.
Testing. All right. You can cut
Told y'all
out that
Hey, yo, Aim. I'm from Houston now.
Yeah.
You dig?
Keyz is low key from Texas. Like, I really think he is.
I told y'all are getting a Texas song every week to the end of the year. And it might just be big to plug every week, because so far that's what it's been.
Texas, where we should ride swangers and put diamonds in our niggas. Her drink inside my lemonade till it look like a bitch. See, I come from the D where we got checks and we be flexing. If you ain't from my state, then you should know don't fuck with Texas. Hey, we always say we keep our weapons. My mama from the 8, she slowed it down for me at 7. Used to think Pimp C was the guy before he went to heaven. I knew what Pusha T was before Gunna even said it. Hey, C.D.B taught me keep my weapon and never trust a nigga or a bitch cause it's expected. No killers from the country, they ride horses and throw sevens. Got niggas in the east ride ATVs with Mac 11s. First off, you better remember what the sign say before you come down here.
I'm trying to. Hey, look. Hey, Jermaine, when you get time to listen to this, like outside of the pod,
yeah,
because you gon' all that Texas that he talking, because you been there so long, it's gonna hit you and you be like, damn.
Bruh, it's like would be so funny is like since I moved here, I got into a lot of the music. But I tell people all the time, I just couldn't get into screw music for whatever reason. I could never do it, bro. I could never do it. Like I tried several different times, and I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't get into it.
My homies who moved here from Texas because of the military, they got me into like screw music and Mike Jones and all of that. Like that's how I really got into Texas music. Like they was listening to Zero, the Paul Wall, the Chameleonaire. I was already listening to like UGK, Pimp C, and all that. Like, I was big on Scarface and Ghetto Boys, but like the newer guys, I went up on to like maybe 8th, 9th grade when I started hanging with a lot of the guys that had moved here, military wise from Texas, and they were the ones that was putting me on. And ever since then, I have been a fan of music that comes out of Texas.
Bruh, it's a lot of good stuff that they have here, man. Like I'm talking about in a variety of different talent. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the best producers on the East Coast, DJ Premier, is actually from Texas. The DOC, famous West Coast producer, from Texas. So a lot of the guys that you see in different areas and stuff, they have roots in Texas. Or a lot of these bigger artists from elsewhere, they love coming to Texas. They love collaborating. I can't talk with Texas artists. So it's good for the genre of music and everything, because it allows, you know, different sounds and everything to just melt together. I don't know what the hell the word is I'm trying to say, but you know, I just love when you get a bunch of different sounds and it all comes together. And I think the best example of that was the International Players Anthem with UGK and Outkast. If you go back and listen to that song, that beat changed for every different verse, for every different rapper.
I'm gonna listen. I listen to it like, I honestly think I listen to that joint like every day for real. Like that's in the rotation of like when me and the kids in the morning getting ready for school, like I throw that in the rotation.
Oh, bro, like is like
I'm gonna definitely check that because I never really paid attention to the whole like beat change part.
Bro, pay attention to it and listen to it, because you know music, you into music and stuff like that. When you hear it now, you're gonna hear exactly what I was talking about. You're gonna be like, oh shit, like it's like something you never noticed before. Because I was Man, I think it was one of the times I was going back home to New Orleans, riding down I-10, and it may have been, I think typically early morning, late night, something like that. And I'm listening to it, and I was like, wait a minute, did I just hear that? And so I kind of rewound it a little bit, wait a minute. And I listened to it again. I was like, hold up, let me listen to the whole song again, just to make sure I got this right. And bro, it blew my mind because I'm like, I've listened to this song for years and I just never noticed it until one day I was just randomly driving down I-10 and it caught my ear. But episode 9 of Sucio Sports, Keyz and myself, we're live right now.
9.
There's a lot to talk about.
We're one episode away from double digits, man.
Hey, almost. But like, bro, there's
next
a
week.
lot to talk
10.
about. There's a lot
No,
to
it
get
is.
to because we had a lot going on in the NFL. We had a lot going on in college football. There was even a bit of, there's some wrestling news. There's some NBA news.
NBA news.
And there's also some sports media news.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some stuff to get to tonight to dig into on this week's episode.
Hey man, so strap in, get your drink, your popcorn, your dinner,
matter
whatever.
of fact, while we're saying that, let me go ahead because I've been waiting for this.
It's in the Gatorade bottle.
Nah, it ain't even in the Gatorade bottle. Is this this what is this Crown Royal Hand Barrel Select? So this comes in a burlap sack bag, and the strap on it to close it is leather. So it's like it's Jermaine proof because it was giving me a little bit of trouble.
Looks expensive,
but it's really not though. It looked like it, but it's really not. It's really not. It's like I think 50, 60 or so.
Okay, that's not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. But I sip it slow because this actual like a grocery store in New Orleans is the only place that still has some of it left. And every time I go and get at least a bottle or two, just to make sure I stay restocked on that one because that's one of my favorite versions of Crown. Like the regular Crown is good, but like this one, it's actually 103 proof instead of 80 proof. So it's a little bit stronger, a little bit different kind of vibe to it, but it's still Canadian whiskey, blended Canadian whiskey. So it still kind of, has the sweet, mellow kind of taste to it. So, but I dig it though. I dig it.
Okay.
Man, where you want to start at this week?
All right, let me get my hypeness out the way. We can start NFL.
Yeah, go ahead.
Eagles 10-1.
Get it out. Get it out.
Eagles did it again.
Man.
2 weeks in a row. Comebacks. Second half. Count it out. 10-1. Tough game coming up this week. Great defense. Bills played amazing. I ain't gonna take nothing from them.
Right.
Bills played amazing. Just that defense in the second half. Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter in that OT was a dog. DeAndre Swift was a dog. Like it was an amazing. I feel like, and we've said this before, Jalen Hurts is the type of quarterback that if you he's becoming that quarterback that if you give him a chance, he's gonna go win it.
Yep.
If you leave that, he's becoming one of those, that Tom Brady, that Mahomes, that Aaron Rodgers, that I'm trying to think who else is like really good at that. I'm trying to think who else is really good at that as far as like you give them time. Some of the older quarterbacks, but he's becoming that. You leave at least 2 minutes close to it on that clock, he's gonna do work. He's either gonna get you
Yeah.
down to that for that field goal, or he gonna drive it down and score a touchdown. And it's becoming a I love this season more than I did last season. Because last season it was unexpected, of course, but
Hmm.
as the season went on, it was like, all right, okay. But this year it feels more special. You know what I mean? Like it's a redemption
Yeah.
season for one, but it feels different. I have a heart
Yeah.
attack every week. Tell you that.
But you know, that game was again one of the
I
better
drink more.
games in the NFL this past week. That Packers Lions game was pretty good on Thanksgiving. That was the only good game on Thanksgiving. Um, the Texans and the Jags played a tight game that was marred by officiating. Um, the Giants and the Patriots.
Uh huh.
That that was horrible. But I don't think anything could top Monday Night Football's 12-10 debacle between the Bears and the Vikings. And the Bears end up winning by not scoring a touchdown.
Oh man,
Uh, so there were more duds than I mean, like you see a
field
tight
goals
score
entire
like
game.
that, you think 12-10, and you know the football guy in me would think, oh man, I wonder if that was a tight defensive game. No, it was more sloppy and bad offense than it was
Uh-uh.
good snug defense in that game. That Bills Eagles game was to me like a heavyweight fight because the Bills were like in this particular iteration of the Bills this 2023 season, the Bills are like they're like that journeyman fighter who's had some heavyweight fights, he's had some titles and whatnot, but he's like 32-13, you know, and he doesn't have the speed or the punching power anymore, but he's still a good savvy veteran. So he's the kind of guy that a young up and coming team would fight in order to say, hey, I'm proving myself. I should be a higher ranked contender.
Yep.
That to me was this game for the Eagles. It was another game in a gauntlet of games that they have right now this season. And looking at the AFC playoff picture, I know we were talking about it in the group chat and everything, and I was just like, when I look at the AFC playoff picture now, especially with the Bills losing, anybody from 5 through roughly 10 can make those last 3 playoff spots.
Not
Any of
even
those
that.
teams in that range.
Remember what I said before the season started when we were doing the preview? I said, and as of right now, as of what this is, we just wrapped up week 12. I'm right. Now, once the season ends and playoffs come, anything can happen. But I said the Eagles had an easier road back to the Super Bowl than the Chiefs do because a lot of those AFC teams geared up. They added a lot of people, and it was going to be harder for the Chiefs to get back to the Super Bowl than it would be for the Eagles. Because historically, either both Super Bowl teams, usually both, have horrible seasons the next year.
Yeah, I'm looking at the standings also. Uh, there's 4 teams right now with 3 losses sitting at the top of the AFC.
Hmm.
There's only one team with 1 loss at the top of the standings in the NFC, and that's the Philadelphia
And
Eagles.
and I think the Lions have three.
I'm sorry, I had to yell at the dog. He was doing some
Uh,
shit.
Um,
Uh,
Lions have what, three losses, right?
yeah. There's only 2 teams with 3 losses. No, I'm sorry. Well, 4 teams with 3 teams with 3 losses in the NFC. But the reason why the Cowboys are the 5th seed and the Falcons at 5-6, leading the NFC South right now, are the 4th seed is because the Eagles are the leading the NFC East and the Cowboys are in 2nd place, so they're relegated to that 5th, that top wild card playing spot.
Yes.
But you got the 49ers, Lions, and Cowboys at 8-3. and then you have the lowly Falcons leading the NFC South, which I'm gonna call it the NFC Deep South because they are terrible. That
which the
division
next
is putrid right now.
which the next 2 weeks could tell a lot for a lot of teams because one, Eagles 49ers play each other this week. Cowboys and Seahawks play. Um, then Eagles have Cowboys the week after. Potentially could, and I hate to say this, could lose both. In losing those two could slide them from that one position. Um, or even losing one, beating the Cowboys, still puts them at the top. The Cowboy game to me is a little more important than the
Hmm.
49er game, just because of that divisional.
Well, remember when
And
I said looking at these two schedules coming up, this Thursday game that the Cowboys have against the Seahawks, that could be a trip for them.
yep,
Um,
could
what's
be.
good, Ahun and SBBK forever? I take the AFC has to go through the bank. The Ravens will be the number one seed. You know, I'm not opposed to that. I
I'm not
really do
opposed to
think
it
the
either.
Ravens
I
will
agree.
probably the Ravens, honestly, when you look at how they're playing, they have an argument for saying they're the best team in football.
Yeah,
And I know you've even said as much, even as a hardcore Eagles fan, you love what the Ravens have done so far this season.
I have. I have. They've had a lot of injuries. They've played through these injuries, and still, where most people would have them at some point slipping and being like, "Oh, they're not going to make it."
Right.
Eagles suck, go
Eagles
Giants.
suck, go Giants.
um, yeah, you would have them somewhere in that. I'm surprised they're at the top, but then I'm not because once again, I knew the AFC was so wide open, and if you go back and look at episode one, I said it like the Ravens easily could be that team this year.
Hmm.
I said the Bengals until Joe Burrow got hurt and shut down. The Browns also the Jets until Rodgers was hurt. Miami, they're still there. So as good as the Chiefs are, this might be that year that they don't make it.
Right. Just looking at, let's say, I pulled up some power rankings just to kind of check out where everybody has these teams at. Uh, on NFL.com, they have Eagles 1, Ravens 2,
Mhm.
49ers 3. Let's see here on Sporting News. Sporting News has Eagles 1, 49ers 2, Chiefs 3, Ravens 4. CBS Sports, they have Eagles 1, Cowboys 2, Chiefs 3, 49ers 4, Dolphins 5, Ravens all the way down at 6.
Mm.
So you see different people have differing opinions of all these teams. And the reason why I kept reading because kept getting to the Ravens because I'm looking at where everybody else has them. And I think that some people just don't believe in that team because of like what you brought up, the injuries. I think the fact that the injuries have scared people off, and I don't think that
Yep.
people are confident in Lamar as a quarterback who can get it done with his arm as opposed to having to use his legs. I just think that's where the thought process must be coming in at. Matter of fact, under this description on CBS Sports for the Ravens, it says the offense was a little off against the Chargers, but the defense came up big. They are clearly in the race for the top seed in the AFC as they head to their bye. Now, my thing is, the Ravens are literally, when I look at the standings, the Ravens are at the top of the AFC right now. They are the number one seed because they're 9-3. Everybody else is 8-3.
Hmm.
I'm wondering where the logic comes in at, where you keep the Chiefs and the Dolphins ranked ahead of the Ravens when the Ravens have already
And
they have the number one seed. You say they're in the race, but they're currently at the
and
number one seed.
And I think they're mostly in the number one seed because they haven't had a bye week yet. Where the Chiefs and Miami have both had one. I
Hmm.
believe that's why, because of the 9-3 and the 8-3,
Yeah,
they've played one more game.
yeah,
So,
it's the percentage point thing. I want to say their
but
winning
I would
percentage is
say,
750, and the other teams are at 723 or something like that.
yeah,
727.
and solely because of the bye week that, like I said, the other two have had and they haven't. But I would think that it would come down to wins, losses, how big wins were, how big losses were. Miami had a pretty big loss to the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty big loss to the Eagles. I'd say the Chiefs also, not a big loss, but a big loss to the Eagles last week. They've also that first game to the Lions. And then
Yeah,
they had one other one in there. I forgot who the other
but
loss was,
see
but
that loss to the Lions now doesn't look as bad
because the
now that the
Lions
Lions
are
right.
are up there,
Ahan
yeah.
says the AFC North is the hardest division in all of football. I'm with you on that one. I'm still with them on
I
that one. I'm still with them on that one. Here's the reason why. Even though the Browns
yeah,
don't
only
have
because all
Watson,
four teams were right there making the playoffs.
just a couple episodes ago, they literally all four were in the playoff. Just a couple. There goes that
Because I would
thing
say the
again.
AFC,
Did
I
you see
still
that?
I see it. So you know what's crazy? I be seeing people on like IG live and it pops up too. It's
That's
can I
crazy.
get one? I don't get one. It's just on yours. I don't I'm not cool. That's all. Damn.
You got to hold it there for a second. See, I had to hold
Yeah,
it
see,
there
I'm
for
not
a
cool.
second before it came over there.
See, I'm not cool.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm the host or
Damn.
something. I don't know. That was crazy because you know
It could
what?
be.
It must be.
I've seen people on IG have it pop up.
Yeah, because last week it was what was it last week? Something else had popped up.
It was the
It
thumbs
was
up first, and then it was some. I think you went like this, or it was something else you did in it, and some popped up. It's crazy.
yeah, that was crazy. But he says SPBK. He says Ravens playing stellar. All three losses by one score. Yeah, definitely. They are
And they were
they
leading in the
playing
fourth. We
extremely
shot. We
well.
just got to
Chiefs
get
will be
past
power rankings
Golden
favorite
States.
because of them being Vegas favorites. Yeah, definitely. Because I'm looking at
Mm-hmm.
ESPN and they have the Eagles 1, 49ers 2, and Ravens at 3. Right there at number 4, Chiefs. Right there at number 4. So
Yeah,
the
Chiefs are
Chiefs
always
are
gonna be right
always
there.
going to be a darling. Right, right. Yeah. What up, Sloan? Um, but these teams, I think it was the Cowboys schedule. We had also looked at it was Cowboys, Eagles, I think Chiefs, and maybe
Uh,
one other team that we had looked at
Cowboys.
that had like some
Cowboys
crazy
ending.
schedule coming down the stretch.
Yeah, Cowboys end their schedule crazy. Ours get the Eagles gets light.
Eagles has
Their
a tough schedule now.
yeah,
Let me see. It
and
was
then
one other team, man, that had a crazy schedule coming up. Was it the Chiefs? Well, see, here's the thing with the Chiefs schedule. The Packers game is tricky because they're starting to
Packers are
play a lot. They're starting to play better, and they're starting to prove like Jordan Love was worth it.
and a lot of
Um,
their injured players are starting to come back at this point, where they didn't
yes.
have them at the beginning of the season. So that's another thing. They're one of those teams like it's hard to tell how they're going to play and what's going to happen.
Hmm.
You want to pick against them, and then boom, they find a way to win. So
Yeah. Right after that, they play the Bills, and the Bills are always going to be as long as the Bills have Josh Allen and they have certain pieces on that defense, they're always going to be dangerous.
I'm gonna be honest. I think the Bills can get Dallas.
Oh, what up,
I mean,
Kyle?
and to be honest, they really almost had us. They honestly did. I'm not even gonna front on that one. Like that game was very close. They could have won that in OT easily on that drive. Um, there was a game winning 2 weeks in a row. There was a game winning touchdown that a receiver dropped. I
Hmm.
forgot it was Gabe Davis for the Bills this week. Uh, he just
It
turned
was
the wrong
MVS
way.
last week for the
Had
Chiefs,
he
right?
turned the correct way? Yep. So 2 weeks in a row, we could have lost on game-winning touchdowns, and by God's grace, woohoo, we didn't. But it easily could have went the other way. So I don't care about that button. I saw you looking over there. I don't care about that damn button.
I had to move the wire out the way.
You go hit. You go hit the button this week because I'm gonna say us a lot. Uh, but yeah, so the Bills are one of those teams like we saw what they did to Miami, and I think Miami offensively and defensively are dogs. They have dogs on both sides of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and when the Bills are hidden, they hit. Monday night they were hidden. You know what I mean? Sunday night.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sunday night they were hidden. It's like they say in basketball. It's how the ball bounces. Same thing in football. It's just how the wind blows that ball. So,
And it's
I think
crazy
I think
because
the Bills could
the
beat them.
I think they can too. And looking at the Bills they're on a bye week this week. Then they get the
Which is
Chiefs.
good for them.
They get they
I'm
and
gonna
they
love
need
that
that
game.
rest. They need that rest.
So
They get the Chiefs,
that's
then the
two key.
Cowboys,
That's
then
huh.
they finish Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins.
So they must have the Chiefs and Bills. Is that Monday night or is that like a four? Do they get the 425 right before the Eagles
The
and Cowboys?
425. They got them at the
Okay,
425 right now.
okay. I
Yeah,
like
they
that
got
though
them at
because
that
that
game
way
right now.
I love that because that way, just like last week, you get a good game in the AFC with them, and then Cowboys Eagles have the Sunday night that week. So I like that.
And I'm getting ready to look up the flex schedule rules because I know there's different there's different like rules to the scheduling and whatnot. There's
Because I
only
believe
certain weeks
winner.
that they'll allow them to schedule it, and you can't flex like 2 games in a row, 2 weeks in a row, or
I
something
know
like that.
winning. I know no matter who wins this week, they already had put that Cowboy. They had already put that Cowboy Eagle game Sunday night like 2 weeks ago. They just
Hmm.
did because it was TBD up until then.
Okay, so
Okay. Yeah, it
that
was TBD
Bills
up until that point.
that Bills Chiefs game is in week 14.
Mm.
Um, they weeks 5 through 14 Sunday night football can be flexed up to 3 times.
I don't think they'll switch that one out though for the Cowboys and
So,
Eagles.
well, this is the thing. This is the thing. If you got the Cowboys and the Eagles where they're still at in another few weeks at week 14, by all means, they should be the Sunday night game because that's the 1 and 2 team in the NFC East, which is one of those two are top heavy in that division. Let's just be
Yeah,
honest. And they're two of the better teams in the NFC, period.
but that's why
Whereas
I
you got
said
Kansas City, who's one of the top teams in the AFC, and you got the Bills, who are currently fighting to get into the playoff picture.
yeah.
So it's like I would rather have two playoff teams playing that primetime game than one playoff team and one, I don't know if they're going to make it playoff team.
And that's why I said it kind of depends on this weekend, but then it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, all right, let's say Cowboys win, Eagles lose to the 49ers, hypothetically. That makes next week's game even more important because if the Cowboys win, we won the first game, they would win the second. I think record wise, that would still tie us. I forgot how it goes as far as who would end up being
You
number
would
one.
have basically you would have
A
where
tie at number one, right?
no, you would have a 10-2 Eagles team facing a 9-3 Cowboys team. And
Okay.
at that point, that game would really mean a lot because then that would mean for the tiebreaker, like you were saying, I want to say it's division record, and then after division record, I think it's conference record
Well,
is how the tiebreak goes.
if it goes by division record, that would put us still at the top then.
Yeah, because that would well, oh, it would tie y'all like a super tie. No, the Eagles would still be top because they have a 6-0 conference record right now. And the Cowboys are 5-3 in the conference.
So that would still put us ahead of them.
Yes, that would barely by
Okay.
like the third tiebreaker or something like that.
Oh,
But
because
hey, First
Long
is
as we're in
first.
front of
Wait,
them.
first
Long
is
as we're in
first.
front
You
of
know what I'm
them, I
saying?
don't
First is
care.
first. Yeah, first
Long
is
as we're in
first.
front of them niggas, I don't care right there.
And
But yeah,
you're gonna have to
and
keep
it
an eye on the 49ers and the
and
Lions too.
it very well could happen though, because like I said, that 49er defense adding Chase Young, they're getting a lot of players back healthy. Trent Williams is back on that O line to protect Brock Purdy. Jermaine Pup. Oh, there we go. Um Trent Williams back on that O line. CMC is gonna be, in my opinion, the key factor, because if you look
Oh
at
yeah.
how
Oh yeah.
the Bills ran on us last week,
Mm-hmm.
CMC is way better than everything they threw at us running wise.
Definitely.
He's gonna have a
Easily.
field day.
Easily.
I think
Now,
we're
one
gonna
other
have
thing that I'm looking at in that matchup too is, San Francisco likes to not only run the ball, but they like to use motion, play action fakes, and they use a ton of different motion
and
shifting and
those
all kinds of stuff.
that secondary sucks.
That's what I was getting at. That's
And I
exactly
kind
what I
of
was getting at.
I was hoping that we brought in because the Raiders just let Marcus Peters go
Yeah.
yesterday, and
Mm-hmm.
then Shaq Leonard, he's I can't even talk. He's visiting with us this week. Only so what I don't like and I kind of hate is we're gonna get him in time for the Cowboy game, which I like more because, like I said, I feel like that I'm not downplaying the 49er game because in the long run of things, that game is important come playoff time as far as like different things. But I think the Cowboy game is more important. So getting if we do sign Shaq, getting him in by the weekend, having him go through the playbook, work with the right people defensively, so that way when it comes Monday, he gets that full
Today
week
is
going into the Cowboy
Tuesday.
game.
If he's visiting them
At least by
tomorrow,
tomorrow, and he signed. If
I
we can
don't
get him to
know.
sign
I,
while
I
he's in
don't
there
know how
visiting,
much he would play on Sunday,
I don't think he would.
even if he signs tomorrow,
I don't think he
because
would.
there's going to be a lot of paperwork, passing the physical, and all of that, and everything.
Well, he already passed the waiver physical. He took that one already. So I don't know if he would have to take another team one because he's done the initial one after
Yeah,
the Colts let him go.
I can't
But
remember how it works either. I'll have to find out about that.
yeah, but I mean, I think the Cowboys not having him signed, leaving, it says to me, and I'm not saying it just being an Eagle fan. I think anytime you have a player visit and they don't sign, look at what's his name that ended up going to the Titans after he went to go visit the Chiefs. Everybody knew the wide receiver. I be drawing blanks, man.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Uh yeah, D Hop. Everybody knew D Hop was going to the Chiefs. They just thought it was a foregone conclusion. And when he left the Chiefs and did not sign with them and still went to go visit Tennessee, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, some won't right about that. Like it was something he didn't like. I feel the same thing about Shaq Leonard. Like you said, Cowboys have key injuries at that linebacker position where they could use him too, but
Overshawn and Van Der Esch are both out for the season.
it's something that he saw that he didn't sign. I
Well,
think
the thing
I
is,
don't think he leaves the Eagles without signing.
here's the thing. When you look at the money, sometimes is a factor when these guys don't sign after they
And I
visit a
think
place.
we can pay them because Cowboys really are like in the hole.
Well, you can get creative with how you move and shift money around, because you can shift money around certain ways and make it non-guaranteed, or incentives or whatever, and easily hit. There's ways to manipulate the cap. But if a guy don't sign, you always look at the money. But then the other thing you look at is playing time and also how they're going to be used in that particular system. If a guy feels like he's not going to play and it's not worth it to him, he's not going to go there, even if the
Yep.
money is right. Because it's like, okay, if I take 6 million here and I'm going to get a decent amount of playing time, but I don't like the way I'm being used, I
Mhm.
could take 4 million here the playing time may not be, what it was cracked up to be, but I love the way they're going to use me. A lot of the time, these guys will say, "Screw it, I'll take less money on this deal," especially mid towards the end of the season, because I'm really auditioning for my next contract, which I
Yep.
hopefully can get re-signed by this team, or somebody else will see me and offer me a multi-year deal after that. So it's a lot of the time it's not always the money. It could be the fit and the playing time and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different layers and factors that go into that.
Oh, I'm hoping we bring Marcus Peters in too, because we could use a veteran like him in that DB room. I think Marcus Peters still has a lot left in him. I'm a little shocked that the Raiders let him go, but then I'm not, because I think the Raiders are about to. They're still in rebuild anyway, a little bit, but I am shocked they let him go. It's probably 9 times out of 10. I think it's the financials of it. Um,
Well, it could
I
also
think he'll.
too, when you think about it, he's a vet in this league, and he's it could be a thing where it just wasn't a good fit, with the new
Yeah,
regime coming in. Or sometimes I know teams will cut a vet and let him try to catch on somewhere else to try to get a ring or win or go somewhere else where he can better play and be used. So there's several different factors that could have factored into that. I
I
haven't
can see
heard
him.
anything or speculated anything, so I
I can
can't
see him
really
going
speak
back.
on it.
I can see him going back to the Ravens too. Ravens
Yeah,
could use him in that
definitely.
in that DB room. So it's a lot for
Definitely.
him too out there. I also have heard rumors of us doing like we did last year, bringing Sue back in at the same. This is about the same time last year when we brought Sue in.
Well,
Um,
the defensive lineman this year, like at one point, I
but
had
I'm
a
shocked. I'm shocked he's still sitting at home.
I had a good friend of
Being
mine. Well, you got to think about it. He's
he's
like
getting up there in age
35,
too.
36. So
I think he's a good person, just like we did last year, to bring in for that second half push where you've got the injuries, where yeah, he's been sitting, but he
he's
also hasn't
36.
been. See, which is still, to me, it's still good because he hasn't been playing, even though he's been sitting, is good. Just like last year, he was great for us because of him sitting most of the season. He had a lot in him for that end push going into the playoffs. So I think a lot of teams are going to look at bringing him in also at that same point for that second half push going into the playoffs.
But like my thing is when you bring in guys this late in the season, like I said before, you're not expecting them to come in and make like this humongous difference. You're bringing them in
Yeah,
for depth, and you're bringing them
yeah.
in, just to kind of usher things along. Um, but looking at some of the off the court news with the NFL this past week,
Whew.
I mean, Dave
Carolina.
Tepper got pissed off,
Hmm.
cussed, yelled "fuck" loud where people could hear him leaving the locker room on Sunday after they lost.
Very
Then
loud.
fired Frank Wright 11 games into his tenure as the head coach.
Not just Frank Wright, Deuce Staley, Josh McCown.
Josh McCown, yeah. I mean,
Deuce ac- Deuce surprised me though, and it's so crazy because just what, a few years ago before we got our coach, Deuce Staley was who everybody wanted in Philly. Which
and
I think he still may be a great coach. I'm not gonna take just firing as detriment on
to
his
me,
coaching
Deuce
ability.
Staley is a good coach. And I know he's a good coach because he wouldn't still be coaching in the league as long as he has after his post playing career if he was
Hmm.
not a good coach. And I just know from just like watching him and hearing some of the things that players have said, the few little things or whatever that I've been able to, hear over the years, I've never heard players complain about his coaching style or anything like that. They've always had very positive things to say. But it, the other thing is Dave Tepper is doubling down on their decision to draft Bryce Young and the price that they paid for him. And to me, whenever an owner gets way too involved in the football side of things and he doesn't let the football people do what they do, it
Jerry
never
Jones.
ends up in a good position. it very rarely, I'll say, ends up in a good position. Um, you got owners like a Mark Cuban in Dallas that helps progress things and move things forward. Jerry Jones used to be one of his biggest enemies, and now he's actually turned himself, in the later years, into an asset again, because he's allowed himself to step to
Yeah.
the side and let Steven kind of take control of things. But you also see guys like what's his name that
Al
just had to
Davis.
sell the
Al Davis. Al Davis was a
uh,
detriment also to
Al
itself for
Davis.
a long time.
And
This
I gotta get my homeboy on the pod one day because he played for Al Davis and they love Al Davis.
I've heard great
They
things
love
about
him.
Al Davis.
But
Great things.
Dan Snyder,
Yep.
uh, the
He
former
got in his
owner of
own.
the ex Redskins.
He got in his
Um,
own way for years.
I mean, it was, bro. It was almost like from day one he was determined. Like, nope, I'm doing it like this. And I was just like, yeah, this ain't gonna be good.
Drafting RG3 and Kirk Cousins in what, like 3 rounds
They
or something
drafted
like that?
RG3
First
with
and
the number
third.
2 overall pick, and they drafted Kirk in the fourth round, I believe, in that same draft. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I thought
I
that was a good move though,
understood. I
personally.
understood exactly. I was just getting ready to say
Yeah.
I understood the logic behind that move. So I'm not gonna fault him for that. But what I will fault Dan Snyder for is you've had in your
Being a
tenure as the
nasty
owner.
nigga. Being a nasty nigga.
I mean, all the nasty stuff to the side, bro. You've had like 347 coaches.
Man.
I'm
I
not.
think
I don't even think I'm exaggerating.
you
I don't
think
think
he
I'm
finally got it.
exaggerating.
Think they finally got it right, or
You
you think we
know,
looking at this? You think this BME's team in another next season?
ah,
I think this is being. I think BNME was
it
brought
it
in
it could
for
be.
it to be his team.
It
Once
could be.
it
It
could be
could
like
be.
a Buccaneer situation, how once one goes up for the next one to get in that position, I can see it being something of that sort where Ron Rivera isn't leaving. He's just going to move up into like a different role for Eric to come in. I don't think it's going to be him leaving altogether.
Kind of like Bruce Arians did with the Cardinals. I want to say. He also did the
Uh,
same thing with Tampa Bay,
yeah.
where he basically. I can't recall if that was the same case with Arizona, but I know he moved into an advisory role with the Bucks, and he stepped aside, and Raheem Morris took over. But I mean, the NFL is we got the parity that we've always wanted, and excuse me, I'm really excited and I'm happy for that and everything. Coming down the stretch is just going to be a lot to look at. What other coaches are going to be fired? Um, looking at the draft even coming up, like who's going to position themselves for what draft picks and whatnot. Um, that's something that I always tend to take a peek at. And one other thing before we get off the NFL and move on to some college football and all the craziness going on there, keep an eye on down the stretch of this season. Those teams that are in like that 5, 6, 7 range, those wild card teams, and some of those, some of those 3, 4 teams that are the lower ranked division winners. If one of those teams gets on a serious winning streak and just starts looking dominant, those are typically teams that I would say, as a dark horse, I would bet on going down that final stretch heading into the playoffs. Take a
Mm-hmm.
small futures bet on them, $5, $10. It could turn you into a couple $100 depending on how big of an underdog they are heading into the last few weeks of the season into the playoffs.
Couple thousand.
You just never know. You
One
just
point.
never know.
I'm not going to talk about it, but 1.6 million.
See, that's why we moving on to college football, because we're not going to talk about that thing that did not happen.
Hey, Travis Kelsey. Hey, never mind. Hey, brother, you and Taylor Swift need to come together and give me my money. My money, brother.
Keyz is not happy about missing that parlay. He is not. But
Y'all,
moving on.
I tell you,
It is
boy,
Tuesday night, and this time they actually have the college football playoff rankings updated while we're doing the show.
they
I made
do.
sure that I pulled it up. When I saw it, I pulled it up because I was like, nah, last time I was looking for it and I couldn't find it. This time I was like, no, I'm pulling it up right now.
There you
But in
go.
the new rankings, Georgia is still number one. Michigan is now number two.
Mhm.
Washington is number three. And Florida State has joined them in the top four at number four still. And Oregon has moved up a notch at number five.
Ohio
And
State
Ohio
slipped to
State has
6.
fallen four spots to number six.
Now, the funny thing is, Ohio State could potentially, it depends. Washington has to play Oregon in the Pac-12 championship.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan's playing Iowa in the Big Ten championship. Georgia is playing in the SEC. I forgot who they're playing in the championship. Is it Bama?
Bama, yeah.
Okay.
Hold up, I'm pulling
Um,
it up right now. Why
and
is this thing doing that?
Florida State is probably the only team I don't see losing. I'm gonna be honest.
Really?
I think Florida State had even with the backup quarterback, I think they have the easiest road into the playoffs. Not saying they're gonna win during the playoffs, but at least to get in, they're there. Washington and Oregon is iffy because Oregon can beat Washington, and depending
Mm-hmm.
on how bad that is, that could move Washington out of the top even six and slide Ohio State back in. Michigan potentially could lose to Iowa because we've talked about this before. Iowa defensively has been dogs. I love the way Michigan played against Ohio State. I hated that
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State lost, but I love the way they played. And after watching Bama the last couple of weeks, I think Bama could upset Georgia. This might be an upset weekend.
So what do we get
And that
if we
honestly could
get
get
what if we
that
get hold on,
that
let
could get
me
Ohio State, Texas, and maybe Bama slid up in a little further.
what
Because with
if Oregon beats Washington,
uh-huh,
Bama beats Georgia,
uh-huh.
and let's just say for kicks and giggles,
Iowa beats Michigan.
Iowa beats Michigan.
It's a shakeup. So I think at that point, if I remember correctly, it goes by strength of schedule first. No, it doesn't. It goes by margin of victory and margin of loss. Strength of schedule.
Mm.
That's what it is. When it's a tie like that, strength of schedule comes in. It moves instead of it being the main one, it moves to second, and margin of victory, margin of loss
Hey,
factors in at that point.
you know what we get if Oregon, Bama, and Iowa all win?
Chaos!
Yeah, and I
Straight
think
chaos.
it would put Florida State at 1 because, like I said, I don't see Florida State losing. I hate to say that, but it
Mm-hmm.
put Florida State at 1. I honestly think that it moves Oregon 2. And again, this is all depending on like how big the victories are.
Yeah.
So if they're like at least a 14, I think a 7-point victory doesn't move the needle, but I think at least a 14 or more does as far as like where they're going to be slid up and down. Ohio State's wasn't that bad. That's why they only slipped to 6 instead of it being further down because it wasn't it was a loss, but it
They
wasn't like
they
a
lost to number three and they were number
yeah,
two.
e- exactly.
Which
So
still
that
puzzles me
factored
as
in,
how Georgia stayed number one when number three beat number two.
but Georgia
I
being
don't
at number
know
one
how
won.
close the vote or whatever was, but that'd be interesting to find out.
I don't think that, but I wouldn't have slid Georgia out just because of Michigan beating Ohio State, just because Georgia still won. and they won. They had a big win, like as far as point wise. So
Mm-hmm.
that still would sit them at number one because of margin of victory. That would
Looking
solidify
at
their spot. That's what I would think.
right, looking at the AP, there is a 45-point separation between Georgia and Michigan, whereas there's like an 80-point separation between Michigan and number three, Washington.
See, and that's what I was thinking. It's that margin of victory over the entire
Hmm.
season
In the coaches
uh
poll, there's a
factors
65
in.
point differential between Georgia and Michigan, whereas there's like a 90-point difference between Michigan and Washington.
Okay.
So you
And
see
then
how like
so
how
that Washington
they're closing the gap basically.
and
They
Washington,
close the
Florida
gap.
State is just as big just because again, strength of schedule comes in at that point and margin of victory. If you look at strength of schedule, Washington has played because like we said, because a lot of those teams when they played them in the Pac-12
Mm-hmm.
were ranked in the top 25 compared to Florida State hasn't played that many top 25 opponents, but they've won all of their games.
Yeah, there's different. I'm trying to look for that other rankings list, the one that I had last week with the strength of schedule and all of that. Oh, here it goes. Okay. All right. When we looking at the power index, okay, the FPI still has the power index. They still have Ohio State 1, Michigan 2, Oregon 3, Penn State 4, Georgia 5. So that one basically it's like the way they weigh their wins in their division, the conference. They weigh a bunch of different factors in strength of schedule and different things like that. But what I love about different little metrics and rankings and things like that is once you look at a team like strength, okay, here we go, strength of schedule. Michigan 1, Washington 2, Florida State 3, Georgia 4, Ohio State 5, Texas 6, Alabama 7. Oregon is down at 9.
Hmm.
So that's another thing, like you said, when it comes to strength of schedule, and you look at stuff like that, if Oregon beat Washington, would we be surprised if, let's just say that's the only upset this week, right? Oregon should get in because that's 5 beating 3. You bump up 4 if 4 wins, 2 and 1 win. You leave them where they are, and then you just slide Oregon in there.
Mm-hmm.
My only question is, what happens with Texas at number 7? Ohio State can't do anything.
I think because Ohio State still got to play in the Big 12 championship, right? I mean Texas. Sorry.
Yeah, they're playing. Who is it that they're playing? They're playing Oklahoma State. I'm
Because
not. I'm
Ohio.
not
So
saying that's. I'm not saying that's a guaranteed win
I see
for
what you're saying
Texas,
though.
but
I see what you're saying because Ohio State does not. If you look at everybody in this 1 through 8, we'll just go 1 through 8.
mhm,
Ohio State is the only one in there that does not have one more game right now.
right.
If let's say Texas wins, Alabama beats Georgia, Oregon beats Washington, I'm hypothetically Iowa beats Michigan. Michigan already beat Ohio State. They're not gonna jump Michigan. Florida State easily goes to number one because I don't see them losing the ACC championship. So I'm not even gonna factor that in. It could happen, but I don't think so with the way they're playing and who they're playing. Um, like you said, chaos. Because at that point, it's a real logjam of like, all right, we got to get this right because this is one the last year with the four. How do we make this right where nobody's upset? Somebody's gonna be up. Somebody's. are gonna be upset because crazy.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to
I'm
how
hoping
this
somebody.
weekend is going
I'm
how this weekend's going to
wishing to
play
go the
out.
way you're saying. I actually wanted to go
And
the way you're saying, like
wait,
just for the fact of
so
like the being in Wild West shootout, like because Monday
so
is either it would be Sunday. Sunday would be that nail biter where all the colleges, all the fans, they in front of the
selection
TV like,
Sunday,
boy,
selection
you
Sunday
think college basketball selection Sunday
is going to
crazy?
be lit if we get some upsets this weekend.
I think
I'm
it can
just
happen.
saying.
I mean, the Oregon Washington one is probably the easiest upset that I see, just because
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna say that because I also feel like Bama beating Georgia is an easy upset. Oregon beating Washington is an easy upset.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Texas can win their game, so that's not an upset. Michigan or Iowa is the iffy one, and I can't click on it on this one, but Florida State has
They have Louisville.
easy win,
You
easy win
think
to me.
so?
I think
I
so.
know there's a lot of people. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's a lot of people rooting for Louisville
Of course,
because they don't want to
of
get.
course.
They don't want Florida State to get in there.
And Louisville's 10-2 at number 14.
Right.
So,
So one of the other things that I'm looking forward to is that we get the Pac-12 championship on Friday night.
ooh,
Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
I
We
like
get
that.
we get that game. Yes,
I like that.
I'm digging that. I'm definitely digging that.
Oh, that's my Friday night right there. I ain't even gonna lie.
Uh,
I
uh,
won't do it anyway, but that's
Look,
definitely.
I,
I'm glued.
I'm gonna be bored and unsupervised because she going out
Yeah,
of town,
yeah. That's
and I think I think do my daughter team do they have games? Because she's the scorekeeper or whatever. I don't think they have games this weekend. I'm not sure. They may have a tournament or something.
I
I'm
like
not
that.
sure.
I
But yeah,
hated it.
Friday
I've
night I'm
always
glued. I'm
I've
glued.
always hated that Pac-12 games get like a Thursday, Friday night. I don't know why. I've always hated that. I'm cool with it this week just because, you know. But
Football.
yeah,
We get good football too.
we get a good Thursday
Um,
night game with Dallas and the Seahawks. Then we get this game on
oh
Friday.
man. I gotta tease my coworker. Her and her husband are going to Vegas. I think they leave on Saturday though. I'm like, man, y'all could have went to a better football game if y'all had left on Friday. Saturday there is going to be the Mountain West Championship there at 2 o'clock in the Legion Stadium in Vegas. But yeah, so Friday night, Saturday sets up pretty well because we get the Big 12 championship bright and early at 11 a.m. Then we get the SEC championship at 3. And then the nightcap is the Big Ten and the ACC, both at 7. I'm sorry, those are all Central times because I'm looking at my paper. So it's like 12, 4, and 8, Eastern time for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So
That's
the games kind of run like where you can
back to
watch
back.
all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
The really the bigger games that affect the college football playoff, basically. You can watch all of those. And then in between, you got the MAC conference, the Mountain West, you got the AAC, and then I believe that is the Southland Conference or something. I can't remember what that one is, but yeah, you get all of those other conference championship games smack dab in the middle of those other games. So you got two 11 o'clock games, well, two 11-12s, 1, 2, 3. You get 1, 2, 3. You get 3 games at the 3-4 slot, and then you get 2 games at the 7-8 slot. So you got multiple games at every single time slot on this Saturday for college football, and they're all championship games, and they all
Hmm.
mean something. Because even some of those other teams like Miami and Toledo, Miami of Ohio, I'm sorry, and Toledo playing for the Mid American, I believe it is, conference championship. Like one of those teams is going to go to a better bowl game than the other one. Because I
Okay.
believe that they're both bowl eligible. Because Miami is 10-2 and Toledo is 11-1. So you got two MAC teams that are probably fighting to see who gets to that better bowl game, because that payout is going to be so much better winning the MAC championship and going to the better bowl game for those mid-major teams,
I was about to
to
say
use a basketball term.
most of those mid majors always are gonna have dog fights as far as like in their conference championship games. So those little games be better than the big ones sometimes. Like people don't be paying attention to them because they're not ranked as higher or the school's not as bigger. But a lot of time I've watched Division 2 games that were amazing. I've watched
Division 2, Division 3,
the
all of
Virginia
them.
Union and Virginia State game before the what is that? What are they in? The MEAC? I think it is still. No, they're in the
I think that's it. I'm not sure. I
I
have to
keep
look that one
forgetting.
up too.
But that game to go to the championship game was better than the actual championship game that Virginia Union won. Their game against State was even better than the game that they got playing in the championship. So a lot of times those lower schools, those HBCU schools, it's a lot it's a lot more dog fight sometimes with them than it is with a lot of other schools than the bigger
Yeah,
ones.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, matter of fact, this past Saturday, watching the Bayou Classic with Southern and Grambling.
Yep.
At one point, Southern was up, and then they let Grambling come back. And I was like, I was getting ready to send a text message to a couple of Grambling people that I know and fire off some tweets, and I was like, I'm gonna wait. Because I know how this game goes.
Mm-hmm.
And both teams are fighting to be bowl eligible or make it to the little the playoff or whatever. They're fighting to make the playoff and everything, and it's just like, damn, like I know something stupid is gonna happen, but I was like, nah, let me just at least type this up. And I was doing something. I said, I'll hit send in a second. I'm so glad I never hit send, because I think
Right.
Grambling ended up coming back, and Southern ended up winning by like less than a touchdown. I think it was like a 4-point game or something like that. And I
Damn.
think they needed an interception or something. It was something crazy. But Grambling started coming back, and I was like, man, I am so glad that I didn't fire off them tweets and stuff.
Oh, that's why Professor was mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he
Double L.
was one of the targets that I was gonna go at.
Look, double L weekend. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Your college lose,
your
your
alma mater,
NFL lose,
and your NFL team both lose, and the fashion that they lost.
both
Because
of
the
them.
Bills was up, and they should have won that game and lost it.
They should have.
And Grambling was down, made the valiant, I won't say miraculous, but valiant comeback, and just couldn't complete the comeback. So it's like you got your heart broken on Saturday, then you got your heart broken on Sunday. I'll be damned. Or Monday. That game Monday? No, that was the Sunday night game.
No, it was a Sunday.
My bad. I'm
Well, it was a 4:25 on Sunday.
Yeah, that's right. It was the later game on Sunday. You sure right.
Yeah,
You sure right. Yeah, but other news in college football. Texas A&M fired Jimbo Fisher and then hired. Oh gosh, I better look it up.
Yeah, his name was very hard.
Hold up. Cause see, I know myself, and I pride myself on not being a dummy and messing stuff up. But I know, like, I'll screw it up. And I know
Syracuse
he used to
end up
coach there
hiring
before.
Did Syracuse end up hiring the defensive
Mike
back coach?
Elko. I don't know why. Because of AC Delco to car parts. I'm guaranteeing you that's what it was. But it's Mike Elko.
Okay.
Now, the other crazy thing that happened to me in college football, low key, and I don't think I've seen a whole lot of people talking about this. Bobby Petrino is going back to Arkansas as their offensive coordinator.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you don't understand why that's significant, couple things. Bobby Petrino was the head coach at Louisville when he had Louisville rolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Teddy Bridgewater and all of that good stuff.
Yep.
He took the job at the Falcons. Was not going well at all.
It wasn't.
I want to say after the 13th or 14th game of the season, decided to leave them Dear John letters in their lockers to say that he's leaving the Falcons and taking the head coaching job at Arkansas. He goes to Arkansas and starts to turn the program around. Then gets into a motorcycle accident with an intern on the back of his motorcycle. It gets even worse because I believe Mr. Petrino was married at the time. And you're not supposed to have interns on the back of your motorcycle, number one.
Not the intern.
Not the intern. And then you ain't supposed to have interns on the back of the motorcycle if you're married, number two. It's a conflict of interest morally and professionally. Bob Petrino subsequently got fired from Arkansas, went to muddle around college football wherever he was doing, and now he's back at Arkansas as the OC.
Which is very interesting. Very, very dope, but very interesting. You usually don't see a head coach like that become a coordinator.
You don't see a guy embarrass the hell out of himself and his program and get rehired. That don't happen. That don't happen. I mean, hey, if this should tell you anything, this should tell you like this country believes in second chances.
Do they?
And as long as you're really good at something, you probably got a second chance. You have to be really, really good at something, though. Trust me, they believe in it. I was talking to my girl just like last night, and I was showing her something on Instagram. A good friend, well, not a good friend, a guy that I went to school with, high school and college. You know, things took a turn. It went the way they went, and now he's bounced back. And it's like, it's a great story because it shows like, you know, hey, you know, you can bounce back from anything. And he definitely had a bounce back story, and I'm happy for him. And he's doing something that he's always loved, that he's always been very passionate about. I know since I've always known him. So it's kind of cool. Guy I went to high school and college with, Tony Converse. He's on a Pitbull and Parolees now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was like, "Wait, you know him?" I was like, "Yeah, I went to high school and I went to Tulane with him for a year and a half, whatever." So I lost my scholarship, and then he had his situation, and we both just kind of left. But anyway, just some crazy stuff happening in college football with a lot of hirings and firings and things like that towards the end of the season. The kids are home because Max is going crazy right now. If y'all hear a dog barking in the background, he is top flight security of the house. Sloan is hollering about Tulane. Hey, Tulane may be about to lose Willie Fritz.
Tulane!
Like, what up, Dre? What up, Dre? Tulane may be about to lose Willie Fritz. No, I believe Tulane is they're 11-1 now. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up the rankings again because I know they're still ranked. I believe they're 11-1.
Yep, 11-1.
They're 11-1 right
22.
now. Yeah. So they are playing SMU.
Shout out to Liberty
in the
still
conference
being
championship.
12-0 in the top 25 too.
Yes. Big shout out to Liberty for that 12-0.
JMU
that game
being
between
undefeated still also.
Yeah, exactly. That AAC championship between Tulane and SMU should be a good game because I want to say SMU still throws the ball around a good bit. Yeah, their quarterback has Stone has 3,200 yards passing, 28 touchdowns, 6 picks. So you can see,
good numbers.
Yeah, exactly. You can see that that's going to be one of those games. That's the 3:00 game. Honestly, I'm gonna be watching that one and trying to keep an eye on Georgia Bama. I think I'm gonna have the two TVs going with those two games at
Yeah,
3 o'clock. Cause
I think I'm gonna set up the iPad for one and have the TV going for the other one.
yeah, cause I got a new TV. I don't know if I showed y'all this in the chat, but I got a new TV.
Yeah, I know. You showed me.
And it's huge. I didn't realize how huge it was until like I was cooking and I was like, hey, I could be in any part of the kitchen and still see every angle of this TV clearly. Like that. That's a big ass TV. Um, but and I always like to have the other one going so I can kind of keep because I'm telling you, if I'm trying to keep up with a game on my phone and the TV, I'm gonna be looking more at my phone.
I'm the same way.
And I can't do it because it's gonna start to drive me nuts, and then I'm gonna ignore one, and then I'm gonna be mad because I'm not
I
paying attention to
usually
both of them. So
I usually try to keep my phone open so that way I can tweet, Facebook, do all of that. So I usually have the iPad, sometimes my laptop dependent, but mostly
right.
my iPad and the TV. And like I have two games on the TV so I can just hit, previous and go back and forth. And then whatever the main one I kind of want to focus on for that third one I'll have on the iPad or something. So it'll probably be the same thing this weekend for the most part, just to catch some of those lower games.
So wait, so real quick, shout out to I can't remember if it was my son or my daughter. It was one of them. Shout out to the kids for showing me that the cable has the it's like this little sports app thingy where I
Ah,
press this
yes.
one button
Mm-hmm.
and it'll pull up like the scores and stuff of the other games in different leagues and whatnot. So
What
like
cable? What cable do you have?
Xfinity, Comcast or
Xfinity has
whatever.
that, and Direct TV does too, because that's what we
Yeah,
got here.
Direct TV, yes, they
And it
do.
pulls up the scores on the side of the
Yeah,
TV.
because I remember when I used to have Direct TV, Direct TV used to always have different little features and stuff like that. Like they've had it for the
Hmm.
longest. Everybody else is starting to catch up to what they used to do. But I'll pull up that score app or whatever, and I'll watch the scores of the other games on that. Have a game on that same TV, and then on the other TV, be streaming something through the PlayStation or whatever. My laptop, if there's a third game or something to watch, I'll do that too because there's literally been times where there's like football and wrestling on, or
Yep.
football and basketball, or a lot of the times, like in the summer, I was watching like baseball and wrestling, or like there was something else on. There's always something else. So I'm always like trying to tune into everything I can and just keep up with as much as I can. But in looking at a lot of the different sports and different things that's just going on, um, one of the other things that came up as far as the NBA is concerned, just like today, literally like not long before we got on air, Mark Cuban.
Yes.
Mark Cuban is a genius when it comes to the business world, right?
Hmm.
Because we talking about a guy who he got in on the ground floor of the tech thing and made literally billions, millions and billions or whatever off of just tech. And he bought into the Dallas Mavericks, and I believe it was 285 million is what he spent, right?
Yes.
Okay. 285 is what he paid in the year 2000 to buy the Dallas Mavericks. 23 years later, he doesn't even sell all of it. He sells a
Just the
majority
majority
stake, just the majority of it, not all of it, the majority
enough
of it.
where he still owns and gonna make some bread, but he ain't got control anymore.
And check this out, for 3.5 billion with a B.
Did you were you able to find out who he sold it to?
It was. Give me a second. I gotta pull it back up. It
He also,
was.
I didn't know he also left Shark Tank. This
Yeah, he
upcoming
left Shark
season.
Tank as well after I believe it's 16 seasons. But it was some sort of tycoon something that he sold it to some other. Give me one second. Okay, here it goes. Yeah, yeah. Miriam Adelson and casino tycoon the Adelson family is who bought it.
I feel like that's who owns. Nah, I might be wrong.
It
No, no, no.
in Sham Sharania, NBA insider called it. He in his tweet he said in one of the most unique setups in NBA history, Cuban keeps shares in the team and full control of basketball operations. So
Okay. So
imagine that. That
it's
was the part
kind of like what Dana White did with UFC,
UFC
where he still
exactly.
controlled and ran UFC, similar to what WWE just did with Endeavor, where Endeavor owns majority. They created the TKO group, but WWE is still handling day-to-day operations as far as who they have in charge, which is
Exactly.
triple, which is no Nick Khan, sorry,
Nick Khan
and
is
Triple H.
yeah CEO and Triple H is COO.
Yeah, so
But one of his
still,
titles as COO is head of creative.
yeah.
We're gonna get into that in a second because there's some
I don't
interesting
want to
stuff
talk.
going on
I
over
don't,
there.
I don't want
Just
to
to
talk about
touch
that
on
shit.
it.
I don't want to talk about that shit.
um, but in the
That might be
NBA
mine.
though, like that,
Interesting. That this little tournament is starting to pan out to be alright. Lakers 4-0 in the tournament. The Bucks have won tonight, so they are now 4-0 in the tournament because
yep,
they beat Miami. I think they're the only two undefeated teams in the tournament as far as in their brackets. Very interesting. I still don't understand the fucking tournament. I really don't. I still don't. But it's been great basketball. Uh, the floors look amazing. I ain't gonna lie. Every team has had some dope ass like floors. That Miami one tonight was pretty lit. I like the Laker one. I think the Suns is. I want to say Suns, Utah, and maybe Denver. I like the most. That Suns floor was kind of fire. The Hornets one was lit too. Pretty much everybody. I ain't gonna lie.
yeah.
All of them have had some dope. Though they should keep them, not just for the tournament. I think they should keep those floors going forward.
Well, here's the thing, and I get why they're doing the different floors and whatnot because you want to
Give a different feel to the tournament games.
right, you want to separate it and let people know like this game is different. This game it means a lot because it's an NBA regular season game, yes, but it means something else to these teams, to this league, to everything else. And the good thing about it is that the players are taking it serious. They're not just like oh well whatever is this stupid tournament whatever. They're still regular season games, but they count towards the in season tournament, and so it kind of has that little added incentive. Um, as of right now, the Pacers, the Bucks, Celtics, and Lakers have all clinched their groups, and you have the groups B and group C are still up for grabs. So it works like this thing has more of a bragging rights thing. I don't think the winner of
Pretty
the in
much.
season tournament gets like a. I
It's
don't
just
think they
money.
even get like a. Yeah, it's money and like a little trophy or something like that. Like you know, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool idea. My thing is, okay, you have a cool idea for the NBA to get people more interested in the mundane regular season because it's 82 games long over the course of what 5 months or whatever. Great. How about you put a playoff spot on the line? Like the team that wins this in-season tournament is guaranteed like a 6 seed in the playoffs. Like they won't have to play in the play-in or whatever. or
let's
like they'll get
say
home field
whoever wins it,
advantage or something. Do
let-
something.
let's say whoever wins it also ends up being like like hypothetically, let's say they end up being having the best record in the NBA and end up being number one seed. At that point, the
Hmm.
tournament made no sense. That's why I don't like the in season part of it because we already got the tournament at the end of the season to make the playoffs. Like just too many.
Which is
And I get
crazy to
what
me
you,
because you're a soccer fan.
which is, but the soccer ones always make more sense because it's like you'll play your regular season games, kind of similar to this. You'll have a game here, play your regular season game there, play your regular season. But I don't know, it's weird because soccer I have 3 or 4 different tournaments within the season going through it,
Yeah,
but those tournaments have nothing to do with like, all right, let's use like the Premier League. They'll have 3 other tournaments going on throughout the Premier League season, but those tournaments have nothing to do with Premier League seeding because I've seen where a team could win all the in-season tournaments that soccer has and still lose in the Premier League. They could be 4, 5, 6 in the Premier League, and it means nothing because those tournaments and cups are separate from what the Premier League does. That's similar to what the NBA is doing, where this in-season tournament you get nothing. You get a little trophy saying that you won that, which is fine. It's just weird for basketball. This is the first year they're doing it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think what's gonna happen is
it's
they're
something going
trying it
forward that
out.
could be dope.
Yeah, they're trying it out and they're seeing how it's going, and they're trying to draw more interest and eyes on the game, which I get. I just think that if they put some more incentive to it, then the $500,000 each for the winning team playing the final in Vegas on December 9th, and if they go ahead and put a playoff incentive to this along with the monetary incentive, I think that that'll make it even more meaningful than what it is right now.
And I'll say the games have been competitive. Nobody's taking like a night off. Like everybody's been playing hard. So it means something. You know what I mean? Like guys aren't looking at it like, oh, this some bullshit. I ain't even about to show up and play. You know, it's whatever. Like they're really going hard on the court. So um again, it kind of goes back like I was saying with soccer. Look how the Lakers are 4-0, but in the regular season can't buy a win.
It doesn't make sense.
But soccer's the same way because I've seen, again, we'll use the Premier League. I've seen a lower team win like the Caribou Cup,
Hmm.
but in the Premier League, they're like somewhere between 10 and 14 in the rankings, but they just won the Caribou Cup.
But in danger of getting relegated in the Premier League.
Exactly. So it's crazy. Like it it's a weird thing. Usually most time people who win those cups aren't the top teams all the time. Because most of the time they use those cups to play their other players sometimes.
Mm. Now, like I said,
So
I
hold
would
on.
prefer.
See, we moved on to NBA, but so JMU is. I thought they were not bowl eligible because of them just get. Wasn't it because of them just getting in Division One?
Yeah, they must have appealed it and something must have ruled it, but I didn't think that they were bowl
Because I
eligible.
thought like 2 weeks ago, it was the whole
Uh,
fuss about
We
them
talked about that
not,
because
yeah,
remember
not being
it
bowl
was
eligible
them and I think it was one other school.
because they just went to Division One this year. I think it was. This is their first year in Division One, and by some weird old rules, they're not able to just send. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look
Let's
it up.
see. Dre just sent the screenshots. They are eligible according to Yahoo Sports. The Dukes were
The
denied
Dukes were denied
exemptions twice
exemptions
by the
twice.
NCAA as a second year program, but were granted a bowl game because that's right. That's why, because there aren't enough bowl eligible teams to fill all the
Ah,
bowl slots and all the 382 bowls that they have. I'm sorry, 282 bowls that they have. So you need of 564 teams. So if you only got 560 teams that are bowl eligible, then some of those teams that aren't bowl eligible, you need to put them in there
So by technicality,
by
they get in.
technicality.
But that's
And
dope for them though, because they have had an amazing fucking season. They
I love
deserve
it.
to be
I
there.
love it. Here's the thing, though. This is where I gotta be fair and balanced. When I looked at why the NCAA does this, right? They do it because the way they explain it is they want to make sure that that team moving up to the next level can
Is ready.
they're ready, and not just ready on an athletic standpoint, but on a support and a program standpoint. They want to make sure that the compliance is there, that the student athlete support is there, um, that the program has the sustainability to not only move up to that next level, but be able to financially sustain staying at that next level.
I was gonna say because you gotta pay for travel and
Yes,
it's not just the players, you gotta send the band.
you
You
got
gotta the
staff and
equipment.
everything
Yep.
else, and
So I
it's
get that.
it's a huge expense. And I know Dre is very passionate about this. He's saying the NCAA is being petty. They shouldn't have denied him to begin with. But the reason why they
I
bump
get
teams up a level and they
I
put
get
them on
why.
that probationary period is to make sure that they're going to be able to sustain being at that level, or they're
It
going to have to
stay
bump them
there.
back down.
Yeah.
Right.
So that makes sense. That make when you explain it like that, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's I used to always like, because the NCAA has a history for just doing shitty things and just being a shitty
Stupid shit.
organization
Dumb shit.
just to be quite honest, right? But like for example, a coach uh, got suspended or games taken away, whatever, for buying meals for a kid and like different stupid shit like that. But when I see them say, "Hey, you know what? We need to make sure that your sustainability and viability at this level is something that we can, see past just the short term." I get it. I get it. However, when you have a team whose athletic performance above and beyond exceeds everyone else's around them, you should give them a shot. And I'm glad, in a sense, that there weren't enough 6-win teams in order to fill these bowl slots. So they had to give them a bowl slot. I'm with it all the way, all the way. Um, there wasn't really anything super eventful in college basketball, though.
Nah, nothing
Oh, the other NBA thing. I'm sorry, I knew it was something else. Um, LaMelo Ball is now out for an extended period of time.
he is.
Not sure how long, but um, they just got everyone healthy, and now he's out for weeks. It says multiple weeks with an ankle sprain. Um, it's crazy because they literally just got a couple guys back. Nick Richards, Cody Martin, Frank Nidicolina, Nida Lakina. I've always
I
butchered his
never
name.
I'm about to say I mess his name up all the time.
Nida Lakina. There we go.
N-
Uh, they
Nitlakina.
they just got all those guys back, and now Lamelo goes down with an injury.
But that
And
just I think now, like we were talking about it earlier, it's just time for everybody else to step up.
mhm.
Like you said, they're getting people back at the right time, but now it's time for others to step up big time. So
Ish Smith, Terry Rozier, Brandon Miller,
especially Brandon Miller.
all those guys are gonna have to step up. Now, side note to this, the other part that's kind of concerning for me with this whole situation, and this goes more due to the long termness of his career. This was the same surgery. I mean, same ankle I want to say LaMelo had surgery on last season, which
Mm,
he only played in 33 games last season.
when they shut
So,
him down early.
right. So you had surgery on that ankle and got shut down. And then you come back, you're playing well because I want to say he was averaging like 25 and 8 assists or something like that. You come back and now you sprain the same ankle you just had surgery on. Yeah, he was averaging 25, 24.7 points, 5.5 rebounds, 8.2 assists on 44.3% field goal shooting. Not bad field goal percentage. It could be a little bit better, but I mean, he's a guard. He's mainly perimeter based. So,
Mm-hmm.
Dre, the in-season tournament, we were just talking about it. It matters simply because
It doesn't.
there's still regular season games that count towards your regular season standings, but it's just a money grab and a trophy thing, basically, as of right now. There are no
Yeah.
playoff implications or anything if you win the tournament. So as of right now, it's just a I don't know, just a tournament to add extra interest into the regular season. That's why it matters, Drake.
Pretty much.
Like I can't fluff it more than that for you right now. But I put it to you like this: if you're one of the if you're guy like 10 through 15, because an NBA roster has 15 guys, up to 15 guys, and 3 are typically inactive per game because you can only have 12 active in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a guy like 10 through 15 and you're not making much money, that $500,000, that's a whole hell of a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say what does it really matter, that's a good chunk of change for a lot of guys in the league. So there is something there to it. You get a cool trophy too. So there's always that.
I think you missed it, Dre, but we were saying it's not too different in soccer, and they're in season tournaments, and because this is the first year, I'm guessing in a few years it's gonna look better, it's gonna sound better, like all of it is just gonna be better in general. It yeah, that's the only thing I can really think of. Uh,
That's about
but
it.
as of right now, it's like yeah, it's a dope tournament. If you win, cool. You got bragging rights that you won that tournament. If you don't win the NBA championship, nobody cares. Unless you're a lower team and it's like, all right, we won this. This is something to look forward to going into the off season, going into next year. So, but that's about it. Yeah.
And it's cool to see something like that, just to see like how they go about handling different things and whatnot. But I like that they're at least forward thinking and trying to consider something that could draw more interest onto the product. So that's always cool to me. I love to see that kind of thing come about. Um, there was not really a whole lot of other
Yeah.
sporting events and things like that that kind of took our
Some
interest.
dope things happen in soccer. Couple wins. Some World Cup qualifiers that went on. Not a lot in sports. F1 race. Did we touch on that last week? I think we did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did
we
because
did.
we talked about how they had to pause the race for a second. I think we talked about it. Did we hit on that when they had to stop the race for a second because of the manhole covers or whatever?
I didn't know about that. I watched
Yeah,
the I watched some of the race from this past weekend. They were in where were they at? They were somewhere like in Egypt or somewhere like Africa or something like that.
yeah,
I got
it was pretty crazy, but I know for a fact one of the other things that happened in soccer. Um, I'm trying to pull it. Here it goes.
Oh, Highland.
Highland, youngest player to reach 40 Champions League goals. Fastest player to reach 40 Champions League goals.
Him and Alex. Him and I was about to say him and Harry Kane. Damn, that was crazy. Him and him and Harry Kane have been killing it for their respective teams this year, setting records neither one of them have done before. Like they're just having amazing seasons in their respective leagues for their respective teams right now. Highland for Man City and Harry Kane for Bayern Munich, FC Bayern Munich. So definitely
Yes.
dope years.
Now the difference is that Kane is a grizzled vet who's 30 years old,
Grizzled young veteran.
and Holland is the hot young, up and comer who's only 23 right now. So,
Crazy, right? Him. Soccer's at an amazing place. I want to say that. Like,
bruh,
you have to look at some of these young players. You got Mbappe, who's only 24. You have Highland, like you said, is 23. Even Harry Kane at 30. Like that 20 to 30 age range is so like it's crazy. And most soccer players peak out around like 34, 35, 36 at the latest. You'll catch a couple goalies that'll go into their 40s. Most key positions usually 36 to 37, possibly. A lot of times they'll play for the
I'm gonna
national
say
team a little
early
higher.
30s is when their early 30s is when to me soccer players like that mid 20s. I'm sorry, late 20s, early 30s is when you're at your absolute peak.
Yeah. And most
That
of the
to
time
me is
you
that's
bow
like your
out about
apex when you're
35, 36 ish.
yeah. When to me, when a soccer player gets to their mid 30s, there's only been a handful or so in the history of the game who have gone into their mid 30s and still maintained an extreme high level of play. Not just saying that they're in their mid 30s, but can you be in your mid 30s and be a consistent contributor in the Premier League on a
So
contender?
the only thing I can say about that is unless you've been a Messi, a Ronaldo, uh a Beckham, you know what I mean? Like majority of the time they've already moved on to the next young phenom. So unless you've already been a proven, you know, vet like that, and Messi left and came to America. You know what I mean? Ronaldo's out in the desert. Neymar is pretty much done for the most part, sadly because of injuries. But
Yeah,
um,
I
they they
feel really bad
usually
for him too.
they usually move on to the next young 18, and the way soccer is, which is amazing, the next 16-year-old that's killing it,
Exactly.
17-year-old that's killing it. You
Yep.
know what I mean? Like that 16 to 20 usually has some amazing players that they see the potential in them now, and they get them ready and start grooming them, whether it's the youth club or if they're with the senior team to set their careers up going forward.
And I really think
PSG
that
has been I think PSG has done a really great job of that because when Neymar was there, they had Mbappe coming in, like right at the end of Neymar leaving. Mbappe was coming in at that 17, 18 from the youth squad. Right now they got I can never say his name. He has the weird like two name, but him coming in now, even though Mbappe is at that 23, he's hit the senior. I'm about to look it up because it's gonna kill me. Um, PSG.
but the thing that I've noticed about a lot of the high level soccer teams is the ones that are able to constantly reload. They're
Warren
not only
Zaire Emery. Young player. He's 20. He is. I hate
The
this
thing that I've
sometimes.
noticed, the thing that I've noticed
He's
about high
only
level
he's
European soccer
17
teams,
right now.
the thing that I've noticed about high level European soccer teams and just high level soccer across the world in general, teams that are able to constantly reload, their youth programs are not only good, but their scouting programs are also good because they're able to identify players on other youth teams that they can bring into their system that may better fit their system for what they particularly like to do. And
Uh-huh.
that's why you'll see like some of these teams pay a decent transfer fee for some of these teenagers, like you call them, to come into their program and to get them more acclimated and to get them indoctrinated in what they do and how they go about doing things and the fitness and training and nutrition and whatnot. And that's how they're able to constantly reload and keep going. But if you really want to
I'm a-
hear more about like soccer and in-depth soccer talk and whatnot, tune into the Shogun Soccer Sit Down. I think I got that one right this time.
yep.
On the network, Ahun and them, I think last week's episode they did the David Beckham documentary.
Yeah.
I know they got something else, some other things planned coming up. But
I gotta find the time to lend my expertise also because me and
I
Ahan
was
going back
just
and forth
getting
with
ready to
soccer is
say, like,
amazing.
I be like, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I be in like a lot of the times when my friends that talk soccer, I just shut up and listen because I don't know enough. Like I know enough to ask questions, but I don't know enough to comment in the back and forth. So when like my coworkers or Keyz and Ahun or whatever, when they're talking soccer, I'm just like,
And I'm not gonna lie,
oh,
I'm
okay.
not
Let me write this down because I might need to know
right because
this.
even me, when Ahan, bro, when Ahan gets to going like he did yesterday in the chat,
Yeah,
I'm sitting there like
yeah,
reading. I'm right down because
exactly.
he's much more well versed than I am. So even for me, it's a lot of stuff I don't know that I get from him, and I'm just like an open book. Like yo, okay, 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 because he breathes ball as he calls it.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean? Like like for me, I'm like that with basketball. I'm like that with football, a little baseball, but like the way he is
right.
with soccer, he's super well versed. Same as Dre
With lacrosse, I was
lacrosse.
just getting ready to say. I'm
I
glad you brought
learned
it up too.
I learned so much. I'm interested in lacrosse now. Prior to meeting Dre and becoming friends with Dre, I could give two fucks about lacrosse. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna front. I'm not gonna front like I was the biggest lacrosse. I didn't know shit about lacrosse. I thought lacrosse was stupid. Not gonna lie, I did. But I've gained a level of respect for lacrosse, and I've learned so much about lacrosse from
Hmm.
Dre's passion about lacrosse and actually paying attention and listening, to him talk about it. So
Right, bruh. It's been like it's been a journey. Like I'll never forget one of the first pods Dre did. It was a watch along with me, him, and Sloan.
I remember.
And I want to say it was the NCAA championship from this year. And we did a live watch along. Mind you, Sloan and I have never really watched lacrosse, paid attention. Like I vaguely knew of it, and I didn't really know the rules. I just knew like it was a stick, you had a ball, you had to throw it into the goal or whatever. I knew basic, very, very, very basic stuff. Sloan, played college football. I played basketball. We're not nowhere near the sport of lacrosse. The way
No.
Dre introduced us to it and explained it to us. When you go back and you watch that video now, it's crazy to see how much we knew watching it for the very first time and how much we were able to pick up on and follow along simply because of the way he explained it to us and the way he introduced the game to us before we even got on the air. And doing that live, it was so much fun because I was like, damn, like I really see how this goes now and I see how things work. And it's just interesting when you see everyone else's passions and their interests and whatnot, and it all comes together in this one big melting pot, and we just kind of like talk it over and help one another and everything. Um, but I mean, just this week in sports, there's just been so much going on. We even had David Benavidez, TKO Andrade, and now he's looking for a fight against Canelo.
But
Um,
I knew that was gonna happen though, man.
that was
First
that
off,
was that was another fight that you had brought up, I think, last
and
week
then
or week before last or whatever, that we
little
needed to pay attention to.
little brother lost to Charlo.
Right,
That
I
was another
knew
one.
it was another one. Okay, see, this
Little
is
brother
where I
lost
was
to Charlo
confused at, and I
to
meant to text you.
Jamal
Yeah,
Charlo.
I meant to text you the other night. I was like, wait a minute.
I watched some of it. I caught the highlights. I was asleep Saturday night, but I caught the highlights of it. It was a good fight. Jamal showed, he's back. He's ready. I think
Mm-hmm.
he's got the mental aspect of things under control for the most part to be back in the ring and look focused. Because he was going through a lot, mental health wise,
Yeah,
relationship wise, spiritually, all of that, family. So he looks like he's back. Still undefeated, still a dog. So a
and
lot's been going on, man. Devin Haney's in the news a lot. He talked too much.
man, him and Regis Progrod, that's that game. That I mean, I'm sorry, that game, that fight. I saw where
He
they did like a little sit down face to face,
he talks too much, man.
and Regis called him out.
I don't
Regis
like
called him
Devin
out.
Haney. I
Regis
think
said,
that
"Hey, you
matter of
got
fact,
15 knockouts. Who have you really knocked out?"
let me look at the thing my homeboy put up because he and I want to have like a going into that fight. I think that week I'm gonna see if my homeboy Kenny is available. And I know you said you have a homeboy that's well versed in
Yeah.
boxing also. Might see
Oh
if we
yeah.
can get both of them on together. It's gonna be funny as hell because Kenny, I told you, Kenny is a country nigga from Mississippi, boy. It's funny. But
You gotta put it in the microwave.
he's very well
Oh no,
versed
go
in
go go ahead. I just didn't know you was gonna warm it up. I'm looking at my son. I didn't realize this cake that I baked. He likes to warm his up, and it just kind
okay.
of threw me off because I'm like, you normally just eat the piece of cake, like cut it and eat it. He like his warm, evidently.
Um
But the
Here it
the
is.
when
It
when
pretty
when
much was saying that Devin Haney hasn't fought anybody younger.
okay,
It's pretty much
that's
saying
kind
if you
of
look at his opponents, Regis Prograis is 34,
mm-hmm,
Lomachenko 35, 36,
mm-hmm,
Linares was 36,
mm-hmm,
Gamboa 39, and he's ducking all the young guys. He's ducking the Tanks. He's ducking the Shakurs. He's ducking those guys in his age range, in my opinion. Kenny says he sent Shakur a contract. Shakur said the offer wasn't enough, and he don't think he would have fought him if he signed it.
mm-hmm.
He called Tank out. They said Haney doesn't have a name and isn't a big fight. He got in the ring with Ryan after a fight. Ryan said he was saving Haney for last. So he's pretty much Kenny was pretty much saying Haney's not ducking him. He's like, hey, what's up? They're ducking Haney. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Shakur last fight won't the best, but Shakur also said his last fight won't the best. He said, I know it won't. He said, I did enough to win. I did exactly what I needed to do when I won. That's all that matters. It wasn't it wasn't one of those performances like I dominated this. What's up? It was more like, do I want to fight you? Look how you looked. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely going into those fights in December, those big fights. Um, I definitely want to have a little boxing joint. Uh, Hopefully that's not a slow period in sports, or I'm hoping it kind of is a little bit, where we can focus on that to have those guys on. But I
Hey,
know they're
bare
also
minimum, what we
Kenny's
could do,
also Kenny's good in all sports, so I ain't gonna say it's just boxing. He's just very well versed in boxing though.
but what we could do And I thought about this past weekend. Well, with the holiday and everything else, we could probably do like a pop up live or a space or something like that. Some watch along type of something. We could
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah. We can
something.
always do like
We
a
gonna
separate
plan
episode.
something
Like
because
we really record Tuesday, Wednesday. We might be able to do like a Thursday one.
that's what I'm saying. We might be able to
Some
do like a
double. It
Thursday
might be a double week.
something, or like let's say Sunday or something, or Saturday night.
When were
Something.
those
We gonna do something. We gonna figure it out
when were
though.
those heavyweight fights with
Oh,
was it
that's I believe December 23rd, if I'm
Anthony
not mistaken. Give me one
Joshua?
second. Let me pull up the schedule.
I had the thing. I don't know where.
I believe it's December 23rd. I remember we were talking about it like last week.
Um,
Yeah, I believe it's the 23rd because ESPN doesn't have it on their list, but there's definitely fights in it's in December. But yeah, like there's just so much going on, and it's not
yes,
much.
December. It's December 23rd.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Um, but yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. Like Dre just sent us this thing with some guys in the NHL messing with somebody's mom or something like that. Um, I don't know. I didn't see it. It didn't pop up. But anytime you get guys messing with another guy's mom, whether they're just guys in the league together or even worse if they're teammates, like that makes it even worse. But that's something that definitely needs to be looked into.
Hey man, who's in the wrong here? Is it the teammate or the mom?
Now wait, see, that's where it's a matter of opinion
I
because
I feel like it's the mama. I feel like as a teammate, yeah, we teammates, but once we graduate, 9 times out of 10, how often are we gonna get back together, hang out? Were we really that cool? We
but
couldn't have been
wait,
because I just smacked your mama. Like I
but
don't,
but
you
wait,
know,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Dre just said the guy just got dismissed because of it.
because it's conduct detrimental to the team. It caused a
Bingo.
uproar with the team and dissension and all of that stuff. So
Bingo. Bingo.
if you
Like I
think about
saw
it,
something, and that's I guess
which what's his
I
name
saw the
got that?
headline earlier that said
Oh, I ain't even
somebody
seen
from
nothing
the
about it.
Blackhawks, whatever, dismissed for something. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't. I saw the headline and I was just like, oh, well, maybe he did some stupid ass shit. Like he probably said some shit that was offensive to somebody or something like that, maybe, or like he was drunk or something. Like that's what I'm thinking. And then when Dre sent this screenshot and this link, and I'm just like, oh wait, it was way crazier than what I originally thought. Like, okay, maybe we need to mention
Also, that
this,
shows that he also it shows he ain't that important to the team for real. Because it's like if he
bruh.
was, to be honest, they would have been like, hey, bro, y'all got to work that out on your own.
Y'all got to work that out.
Tell
And
your
look,
mama stop
whoever
coming
is
to
more
games.
important to the team, that's the one that's gonna stick around. Whoever's the
Tell
least important
your
to the process, you get out of here.
tell your mama stop coming to the games wearing them skimpy tight outfits, man. I need to see what
So,
this. What's her name? What's it? Who was it? What's his name?
um,
Bernard
Connor
Connor
Bedard
Bedard.
and what's his name? Corey Perry. So
Connor
we come
Bedard.
to the part of the show, ladies and gentlemen, where honestly, this whole part of this last part of the show, this was my idea because typically there's something always that chaps my hide, that burns my grits,
It's the
whatever,
mama.
whatever, whatever.
Hey,
When it comes to the rants, right?
I might can understand why. I ain't gonna hold you. Oh, also the guy who did it, he's older.
Uh-huh.
He's not a younger player. The player is younger.
Right.
Corey Perry is younger, but
Yeah.
well,
Connor
I'm sorry,
Bedard's
Corey
been
Perry is
around for a while.
no. Connor Bedard is the younger one. Corey Perry is the older one.
Oh, okay. I got them mixed up. My bad.
Yeah. So
I
okay,
got
so
them
it was
mixed
an
up.
older player smacking a younger player's mom. Then I'm
Yeah.
not mad at that because at first, in my initial thinking, I'm thinking two younger players and the younger player smacked the other. Okay, so it's like in the same age range. Your mom's hot. I'm
Mm-hmm.
dating your mom. Hey, bro,
Mm-hmm.
get over it. Be a man. Get over it. Your mama's out here getting cracked. She ain't. I mean, for that age range, she's not a bad looking lady. I could understand why he did. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Eh.
I mean,
I ain't mad at it.
uh,
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not
like, but you got to think about it though, like this, right?
his sister.
At some point,
Might have to post this picture.
you have to put the team above yourself, and when you cannot put the team above yourself, you got to go because now you making it harder on us to get shit done because
And
of
he
what you're
probably was
doing.
at the. He also was at the end of his career too. Bedard's been around for a long time, so
This guy,
I mean,
the
not Bedard.
sister,
But you see it? I'm starting to understand what Dre be going through sometimes, man.
this guy. Oh my god,
Right? You see what he put. You
Dre,
see what
did you die? The milk madness has to stop.
Hey man, but looking at the mom though, I get it for again for that age range, cause Corey Perry is older. I get it. Like he,
My
you know
God.
what I mean? They're in that same age bracket where it makes sense.
I'm just sitting here trying to get to the rants, and Keyz
Daddy
is
ain't
looking at older women, sugar
look,
mamas and stuff.
Daddy ain't doing something right. She found another older guy. That's all it was. She found a
Wait,
single hockey player, and they had a little
look,
team. She there at the team meeting. She's the team mom. You
bruh,
know,
come on, man, come on, man,
man,
come
she
on,
brought some cookies and milk.
bruh. It's hockey. What do they eat in hockey? Like soccer, we know they do oranges and fucking Capri Suns or
I
whatever.
don't know.
Basketball, football is typically like baseball. Gator is sunflower seeds and
Cookies,
bubblegum in baseball. What do
cookies
they
and
do in hockey?
cookies and milk.
Cookies and
I
milk?
don't. I
Oh
don't know.
no, bro. They do hot cocoa. Hot cocoa
There
because
we
it's
go.
cold.
And
Hot
she
cocoa.
probably made some amazing hot cocoa with marshmallows.
I was just getting ready to say with the marshmallows.
Gotta have some type of white in there somewhere. But
Hey
I ain't mad.
man,
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm not. If I was Corey, would I be mad? Yes.
fuck yeah,
Yes.
you be mad. Come
Because why
on.
are you touching? Especially if my mom's still married to my dad. I am pissed.
Bruh, come on.
I am
Like,
pissed. But if I'm a teammate, I don't care. I don't care. If I'm a teammate, I do not care.
I put it to you like this: if you're a
Unless that
good
young boy is
teammate,
the,
if
if
you're a
that young
good
boy is
teammate, you care.
if that young boy is a star and this is gonna mess with his mental of us winning, then I care. If he's just a young boy on the team, you need this to get over it. Get over it. Your mama's a hoe. Okay?
Hey, I'm just trying to get to the rants,
Your
and
mama
Keys is
outside.
over here milf watching.
Your mama's in them streets. Ain't
Hey
that how the dude from Houston I be sending you? I'm in these streets. Your mama in them streets. That's all it is. She
so
outside.
this past week, the thing that really burned my grits, it was this story. And lately AI has been the rage of everything. It's you generates this and it can generate that and it can do this and do that, do all these cool things, all this stuff, right? And a lot of the time, you hear typically people that are a little bit leery of technology talking about how uh, uh, technology can sometimes be the downfall of society or can contribute to the downfall of society, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a futurism article put out by yesterday by Maggie Harris. Headline reads: Sports Illustrated published articles by fake AI generated writers. Subheadline says we asked them about it and they deleted everything. So I'm gonna just summarize the article for y'all, so I can go ahead and get to my rant. Basically, what Sports Illustrated did was they took. Not only did they take the articles themselves were AI generated by a program or whatever, right? That wrote the articles, and this was mainly about product reviews and things like that. But they also used AI generated writers. So the actual writer that the fake article was attributed to was also a fake. How deep did they go? They went so deep as to purchase AI generated pictures of said AI generated authors for the AI generated articles.
Mm-hmm.
And also gave them AI generated biographies and backgrounds. You sit and you say, Jermaine, they're just using technology to create some content. Why are you so angry about that? Well, let me fill y'all the fuck in. I'm a writer. I've been grinding away at sports media on and off since 2009, 2010, very consistently since 2015 or so, 2016, right? Trying this, trying that, still working a full-time job, just trying to level up and maintain. I've had opportunities come and opportunities go. I've held on to some things, I've passed on some things, I've sacrificed some things. But to not be in the area of the advancement of my career or what have you, this passion that I want to pursue, and to see that one of the big entities in that field is going the cheap route, basically outsourcing everything, and they're getting called out on it, and then just trying to delete everything and not commenting on it as if they didn't do it. It really pisses me the fuck off, because you could be paying me to write this shit. Instead, what you'd rather do is make up something about somebody that was also made up, that you purchased from somebody who makes up shit for a living. What you have now is they've opened the doors to totally just get rid of creatives, period. And as somebody who dwells in that vicinity of that industry or whatever, being a creative and creating content and whatnot, that takes money out of people like my pockets. And I don't know about y'all, but I got bills to pay. I got kids
Not
to
even
take
that,
care
but
of.
think about if they're able to do like, because they're able to AI generate pretty much everything. Think
Exactly.
about what me and you doing right now. They're able to AI generate two people sitting talking sports.
Exactly.
They give the system the subjects, they give them, whatever they need to give them and have them articulate and talk about the subjects.
It's not even that far off, because about a month ago, I was able to take a quick vacation up to Vegas, and I went to the Sphere. Right,
I remember you were telling me about this.
bro, we are literally having a full blown conversation with a fucking robot.
I remember that.
And I'm not just talking about any robot, right? The robot was cracking jokes and was witty and was quick witted and was responding like back and forth and was paying attention to multiple people and holding multiple conversations at once, like a real fucking person. Like the robot told one joke. The lady was like, can you say my grandkids' names? And the robot said, sure, my grandkids' names. And the robot was like, ha ha ha, that was a little joke. Sure, what are your grandkids' names? And she said the lady's name again after the lady had introduced herself before. But anyway, the thing is just like this shit pisses me off because it's like it's another way for these companies to figure out how not to pay qualified people what they're worth
Cutting
and to
costs.
outsource shit, right?
Cutting costs.
It's already fucked up the manufacturing industry and other industries, and now it's threatening to fuck up the creative industry. And I'm not
My
happy
mom
about
was
that shit.
my mom was just talking to me about how Walmart is getting they already got self checkout. Pretty much every Walmart
Mm-hmm.
has two self checkouts on both
Yep.
ends of the register
Yep.
line thing. But like I know the stores by us are supposed to be shortening it even more, where it's only going to be like 3 or 4 regular registers.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is going to be self checkout like Sam's Club.
See, and that's that
Because Sam's
that's
Club only got about what 3. Sam's got like what maybe 3 or 4, if that, lines.
it depends. Like I've been to three of the different Sams in my area
Uh,
during peak times, like weekend Saturdays and after work and shit like that. And during those peak times, they will have like at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 actual cashiers checking out people.
which is crazy because the one that's close to us only has 3 registers, I believe, and
Mm-hmm.
everything else is the self checkout lines.
Nah, the 3 that's by me, like I'm fortunate enough to have 3 different ones within about a 10 or so mile radius of me.
Okay.
But they all have multiple cashier lines, and they only have, I think, like 3 or 4 self checkout lines. Like there's that one scan and go line, and then
Yeah.
there's like 3 or 4. I want to say the self checkout line.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just getting to a point, man, where these big businesses are figuring out any way they can to get rid of people. And now that they have this AI
Cut
shit where it can actually create content and manufacture shit like that
cut costs at the bottom to bring in more money at the top.
at the top. Exactly. That's what's pissing me off this week. And when I found out that it was actually Sports Illustrated that got busted for doing it, not some other blog or website or some other like small fry or something like that. One of the more highly respected, long term entities in sports media, one of the beacons of sports journalism, got busted for doing that.
Uh,
That just lets you know right there, like all bets are off when it comes to this shit.
nah, it definitely is, and like you said, it it's a game changer, for sure. Because not again what we're doing right now, but also the ESPNs, the Fox Sport ones, the Fox
Mm-hmm.
News in general, being able to like talk about you can you can have the AI people on TV, or you can have them reporting from wherever the campaign place is without having to send people out anymore. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to pay for travel for this person to fly to Iowa for this debate, so it's very interesting. It is very interesting. I think it does suck because it's showing that you don't need humans as much. But like anything, computers are flawed and you still need us.
Yeah, I just think
So
it kind of that kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, big time, and I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. I'll never get over it and accept that shit because, and I understand like there's already writers that are already fighting for what they're supposed to be paid and treated fairly in Hollywood as well as in music and whatnot. So writers have already been marginalized enough by the industry itself, as far as pay, compensation, and being treated fairly is concerned. Over the decades or whatever. But when you introduce something like this, like y'all already treat us like shit. Now you trying to put us out of work. That's the part that pissed me off about it. It's because you already don't treat us fairly, and now you trying to put us out of work like that. It's bad enough newspapers and magazines have gone to shit, and everything's online based now. And now you're figuring out a way to phase out the actual people behind it. It just got to be too much for me this week.
It was a good rant.
Yeah, I was more calm this week than I was last week because last week.
You know, it's crazy. I don't even got one this week. Because I don't.
Really?
I mean, I don't. I would say maybe about the CM bitch stuff, but
that's where I was hoping you was going. I was like, I purposely did not bring it up, and I did put it on the rundown. I didn't say nothing about it because I was like, I know Key's going.
I can't get worked up over some fake shit. It's fake, so I can't really get worked up over it. Other than the fans, the only part that's crazy to me is just like, so it's the way the fans are forgetting. And I said this earlier when we were in the space talking, but to me, it's the way the fans forget how he acted in real life, not character work or nothing like that. How he really acted over here to the left, and he came back to the right, and now all is forgiven because they don't like the left. And I also said it in space this morning. Everybody's so quick to dunk on AEW, and I'm not an AEW stan. You know what I mean? Right is right, wrong is wrong. But it's crazy because so many people are quick to dunk on them and put them down. That it's like, well, CM Punk is up here and they're down here, and that's why da da da. Now he's back over here and ha 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 over there, and I'm like, no, that grown ass man still acted like that over there. He's gonna act the same way over here. He's the same person he's always been.
The only thing about it that I will say to play devil's advocate to that argument is that Punk knows that he's 40. I think he and I are like the same age, like 43 or whatever, right? He's in his early 40s.
Because I think me and AJ are about the same age.
Right.
He's a few years. He's a little older than
a little older.
Not by much, but a little.
He's basically in his early 40s.
Yeah.
He knows what his body is capable of now, and it ain't what it used to be. So he don't have much left. He's trying to get that
Mike is his golden goose.
Right. He's trying to get that last hurrah out of his body that he can as a wrestler before he has to transition to being just a mouthpiece for somebody if he wants to stay around the business or front office, whatever it is, right?
Right.
He knows as far as being a top performer in the ring, he ain't got that much time left. He knows if he wants to truly feel fulfilled once he hangs his boots up, this is his last shot. So I tend to look at it from that perspective as far as believing or not believing what he's saying and what he's selling is concerned. My issue is more or less with, again, like, along the lines of what you said, but the way fans tend to consume things and the tribalism of it, where if you're for this, you're against this. And it's
instead of it being, I like just like this morning. Exactly. I don't know if you heard when me and Hearts was going, I'm like, I like everything. I watch it
Right.
all. I don't say
Right.
I don't watch this. I like watching TNA. I like watching New Japan. I like watching AEW. I like watching WWE. But I also don't like watching them all for certain reasons. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
I don't drop one for one, or I like watching I enjoy some of the GCW stuff. And some of the other lower indie promotions, MLW. I enjoy watching MLW just because I like a lot of the people they have. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes it's the wrestling, not the story. With MLW,
Speaking
I
of
like the
MLW, quick
in-ring
shout out
work.
to Alex Kane, the MLW champion.
Hey
Great
man,
Twitter follow.
got to get Alex on the show just to talk because I I don't want to steal what some other people have done before, but I like getting people in other realms to come over and talk stuff out of their realm,
Exactly. And
especially to sit and
that's
talk sports, talk basketball, football, baseball, find out what they're
right.
into sports wise and how what they did younger maybe correlated them to get to where they are now. Stuff like that. So
Right.
definitely look out for, some guests that are
We
not your typical athlete, I guess you would
right.
say.
We wanna branch out and kind of like we wanna keep it some of the things that you guys like and you guys are used to as far as sports is concerned and talk is concerned, but we also want to kind of bring a different feel and a different touch to it. And of course, being a part of the C.D.B network, we have to keep it 100% authentically ourselves. Like
Of course.
we we not gonna always be, I'm not gonna always be media professional Jermaine. Like last week when I got pissed off because motherfuckers thought that I don't know football and stuff, and I had to just put them in check. Like that's when you typically get New Orleans Jermaine. Like that part of me comes out. Like
Nolans, man.
sometimes my accent may even flare up or whatever, but for the most part, like I keep it in check because I'm like I don't want to bring that person out because that person is a fucking psycho, and I'm scared of that person. That person is inside of me, so that lets you know what you should be of that person. But like we want to keep it entertaining, keep it informative, and just try to keep you guys engaged and watching and listening and participating, and everybody in the chat, everybody that watch, shares, retweets, quote tweets, whatever it is, we really do appreciate it. With that being said,
Episode
I've
10 next
made
week, people. Episode 10 next week, people. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know,
it's like
10
Booker T,
times.
you said 5 times, but twice
10
that, 10
times. 10
times, 10
times.
times, 10 times, 10 times. But
Oh,
I'm normally in charge of the outro. And since Keyz thinks he's from Texas,
Yo, I go by the name of Pharrell from the
let's not do
Neptune.
this. I get into this rap mood that comes on.
The world
Word for
is
word.
about to feel
look,
something
I knew
they never
that when you said, "Hey, play Big X to plug Texas," I said, "Bet." When I texted that cool, I knew exactly what I was
Nigga talk the hard. I'm the neighborhood pusher. Call me subwoofer, cause I bang like that Jack
on the off the
track.
track. I'm
I'm
heavy
heavy
cuz ball to
cuz.
your fathers. You can duck to the Fetty Gov. Sorry, my
Sorry,
love,
my
but I'm
love.
seeing through these eyes. Benz convoys with the wagon on the
the
side.
dragon on the
Only
side.
bad boys keep deuces on the ride.
Niggas on the
Chuck Taylor
ride.
with the dragon on the
With the
side.
dragon on the
Man,
side.
I make a
Yeah,
buck, why
I make a
scram?
buck, why
I'm trying to
scram?
show
I'm
y'all
trying
who
to
the
show
fuck
y'all who the fuck
I
I
am. The
am.
Jews is flirting, be damned if I'm hurting. Legend in two
Heavy
games
in
like
two
I'm
games
Pee-wee
like I'm Pee-wee
Kirkland. Platinum
Kirkland.
on the block with consistent
With
hits.
consistent
Why
hits.
Pharrell keep talking this music?
Hey, that song right there and that
Hey,
production,
bro, if you won't in high
man.
school when this came out, you might not have been born because you are a
I was
little
not.
kid. But I can remember ninth grade every morning.
Cake, patty cake, on the
When
big
you
pan.
walk
I
in
bake
school,
two
you
cakes as
stop to
fast
the
as I
right.
can, and you can
and they were over there freestyling with the grinding. You had to do with the pencil.
Yup.
Grinding, cousin. I got
Dog, I put it to you like this here, bro.
coming in my weight. That's heavy as my
When
name.
this song came out,
I won't change.
I had already left Tulane, lost my scholarship and everything, and moved to Houston.
Minus the wind chill.
So it was. I was in college when this came out.
That entire album. That whole album.
Bro, the production on that album is
That might be.
stupid.
People don't talk enough about the clips in that album. They first two albums.
It's a thing
The
where
Justin Timberlake track, because that was when Justin was on his like, I think I'm black.
that's when he was like
I'm half black for real.
he had left in sync. I want to say like 01, 02, something like that.
Yep.
It was something like that around that same time, and he was trying to
going
establish
solo.
himself as a solo artist.
Yeah, hey.
And that not only helped establish him with the hip
now I
hop
gotta-
community, or I'll say this, that not only further helped establish him with the hip hop community, but that also gave Clips another crossover audience as well to respect their work in the Neptunes and whatnot. So that
Neptunes was
one
already-
song did so
the
much
Neptunes
for
was
two
already a
different
little
genres of
crossover.
music.
Man, see now you started a competition. I need you to understand this. I'm about to go into a deep New Orleans or Houston bag now, or Texas.
Hey man, look,
Next week you know what? I'm going to New Orleans next week.
look,
I got you. I'm going into a deep bag.
Look.
I think I already know
look.
where I'm gonna go. And when I send it to you, I'm gonna wait till day of, like right before the show.
Hey.
Be like,
I'm telling
where
you,
I'm going.
like, I may not know new music. But I know old music.
I'm
I
going
can do
old
old
too.
music.
I ain't even going new. I'm going old with this one.
Okay.
I'ma
See,
go old with
typically
this
we'll do something like Keyz may pick something new, I may pick something old. But if he picking something old, I'm gonna have to pick something new. So now we both
Matter
about
of
to
fact-
stretch each other.
Let me write this down. Not in artist. I'm gonna have a music new.
He about to create a whole separate.
Got it.
Man, with that,
I'm gonna
with
keep
that.
it light and go there.
This is what I was trying to do. This is
hitting
what we do.
grind.
Like literally, this is another like pull back the curtain, show y'all the fourth wall kind of thing. Cause like we're all super competitive. We're all hyper competitive. And like when they have a good episode, Dre be like, well, fuck it. I'm gonna get a good episode going. I got so and so. Then we be like, well, shit, we gotta come with a good episode. And then
Right.
Kyle and then be like, well, shit, we gotta come up with a good episode. Like we all push each other.
Nah, that's a fact. Like
To be
that's
better.
how we all grow. That's how we all get better. You know what I mean? That's
It-
how the network grows and gets better.
It don't matter if it's Sucio Boys, if it's Four Corners of Commentary, if it's Aim High, if it's Dre Lax, if it's Sucio Sports, A-Hun Sugar and Soccer Sit Down. I'm hoping I'm not missing anybody, but it don't matter. Whatever you getting from us, you're gonna get 100% authentic us, and you're gonna get everything that we got, and everybody else on the network gonna push each other to do something bigger and better.
Facts.
But with that being said, this is Sucio Sports. This is Keyz and Jermaine, episode 9, wrapping up. We'll catch y'all next Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. We don't know yet. We got to check our schedules around 8:30-ish Central Time, 9:30-ish Eastern Time.
I got something special for 10. It's
Episode
just
10.
10. It's just 10. Nothing too crazy. You know what I mean? Like
We don't know what we're going to do special for episode. We're going to do something. I don't know.
something. It's 10. It's double digits. Got to do something.
I may fuck around and pour some liquor that I never poured in a long time or never poured before. And I think I got a bottle in mind.
Might have some guests on. Might have some guests on.
Might have a guest. Might have
never
two.
know.
I don't know. Something.
You know, never know.
I just
Tune in.
realized I didn't take the plastic off of the board. Like I saw this piece of plastic hanging just randomly, and I was like, "Oh, I never took the plastic off of this." So here we go. But yeah, episode 9 of Sucio Sportz. For Keyz, I'm Jermaine. Appreciate y'all tuning in. See
You
y'all
see
next
the
week.
X. Follow us.